week 7 of the fantasy football season. And here's a few kickers I would drop this week. The first guy, Greg Joseph of the Minnesota Vikings. So Greg Joseph last season was a great year in his first year with Minnesota. But this year here, only 2 big ball games he's had. In the last couple weeks, he hasn't done anything. Week 5 versus Chicago, 3 extra points for 3 points. In week 6 at Miami, a 35-yarder and an extra point. So week 7, he goes on bye. A lot of good kickers out there. I mentioned in the waiver wire video, if you haven't seen it, check it out, that I'd rather have than Joseph. And Joseph, I know he's in a high-powered offense. I know he's on a solid team with the Vikings. But right now, he's not getting the job done. And he's a kicker I would drop, especially with the bye week. This week, the next kicker I would drop this week's Matt Gay of the Los Angeles Rams. So another kicker I had big hopes for coming into the season. But he really hasn't done much. And this Ram offense, it's just been up and down the whole season, and for the most part, Gay hasn't gotten the opportunities the last 3 weeks, and he's going on bye week as well. Week 4 at San Francisco, 9 fantasy points. Week 5 versus Dallas, 4, and Week 6 versus Carolina, 6. So this season, Gay's failed to reach double-digit fantasy points this year here in fantasy leagues. Depending your scoring, if he did, it would have been twice then if your scoring is a little different. But anyway, he's not putting up points right now, is Gay. He's going on bye week. And this Ram team, they got to figure out this offense. It's just going to struggle with the offensive line. And only Higbee and Cooper Kupp the majority of the season doing anything. So right now, with all those factors playing in, I think Gay's a pretty easy drop this week. And he's not a guy I'm going to save on my bench here for the 1 week with a bye week. He's a guy I could drop. And if you really want him, you probably could get him back next week off the wire or during the week, whatever you want to do. And the third and final kicker I look to drop this week is Riley Patterson of the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was a hot pickup the last couple weeks here, is Patterson. But now this Jaguar offense, they've fizzled out here after getting off to a monster start the first 3 weeks of the season. And the last 3 games here for Patterson, Week 4 at Philly, 3 fantasy points. Week 5 versus Houston, 7. And Week 6 at Indianapolis, 3. So I know Week 7's a good matchup on paper versus the New York Giants. Give up the 4th most fantasy points to kickers on the season, but I'm not going to trust Patterson in this situation. This Giant defense is playing great. They limited Lamar Jackson in that Week 6 ball game. So right here, with all those factors, and Jacksonville just not playing great football right now, he's a kicker I would shy away from and drop this week. So that's a few kickers I look to drop here for Week 7 of the fantasy football season.